Hey y'all, Wiggle here. Just catching you up for today. It was kind of a dreary, cloudy day. Coldest we've had. Probably be the coldest we have this week, what they're saying. So I'll start off the morning having to fix the water. The water was not leaking. I mean, it was not working, it was leaking. I had found out that my valve down there is really hard to turn. It's hard to get enough leverage on it, but my arm went down in there, couldn't do it. So, and I also found out you need to move, make sure your insulation is not in the way of your valve handle so you can actually turn the valve. So I got to rework the insulation, and then I just put this down on my handle and spin it. It gives me my leverage. So I'm glad I had this thing laying around, old water meter key. So I was able to turn my water off. And what had happened is there was a guy here for a while investigating community living, and he thought he knew how to plumb with that back pipe. So I taught him how to do it. Showed him how to use a torch to heat up the pipe. It slides together so much better. How to use the pinch clamps, not screw clamp, when possible. And anyway, and when I showed him, taught him to make square joints, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. Just do everything. Don't stretch the pipe, don't stress the fittings, just do nice. So anyway, he got it in his head to come and redo everything that I had already done, and showed him how to do it. It was in this well house right here. So anyway, when he did it, he didn't get my clamps tight enough. And I never double checked his work. I'm like, what in the world is he doing? So he came in here and we did a lot of what we had already done. And then the pipes have been popping off. He wasn't strong enough to clamp them. Anyway, this thing was full of water like a pool last night. So I had to figure out how to shut off that valve, turn it back on, and drain the water out of this well house so I could get in there without getting electrocuted. Because I have all kinds of electric lines running in here that feed that greenhouse and so forth. My battery's dying. So anyway, that's how I started my morning. And I got it put back together. I clamped it nice and tight. I double checked all the clamps. Let me go show you what else I was working on. I moved the cows over to top pasture and left the calf behind, so everybody's carrying on and going crazy. We're going to let them over in a few minutes. I was working on the loader today and put some transmission fluid in it. The stuff I got from Walmart apparently is too thin. I just could not get my loader to motivate. It was very aggravating. So anyway, I'll tell you more about that. Well, I'll talk as I walk. Well, on the loader motivation, this old 1977 machine needs 10W30 weight hydraulic transmission and hydraulic fluid, not just plain old like lightweight 303 grade. I'm just telling you this because this is what I've learned. You can get that light duty regular generic, and it's the cheapest, and that works fine for just regular hydraulics. But you really shouldn't use it for brakes. You really shouldn't use it for transmissions and stuff like that. So you've got to get a better one suited for it, more lubrication. So all that said, I ordered from Advanced Auto and they're delivering it free today. Same day delivery. I found some 10W30 weight hydraulic fluid, and hopefully when I put that in, my loader will move. Because it's still low. I put like at least a gallon in there, and I shouldn't have, but it's in there. So I'm going to try to put more. So I'll just show you what we did today. We had skunks getting into this building here. So now we put in some concrete today. Trying to deter them from digging under. The building smells like skunk, and we're having a meeting later this month. So we got to get these skunks under control. So if and when they dig their way out, we'll put a box trap there. The way it was, it would be just too hard to try to trap them. If they dig a new hole, I got a bunch of these. I found the best place to get them. Look at that hawk. The hawk flying off stuff right there. I don't know if you can see them. I guess I scared them. Anyway, you get a 2-packet Tractor Supply. That's the best price I found on these box traps. Whatever you call them. So anyway, we did a little concrete. I'll walk you over here. Anyway, with the loader theoretically in operation, the right hydraulic fluid in there, I'm going to be moving the cows out of the front yard. I did manage to move the one bale they were eating onto another paddock. So, see this just bombed out crater manure. Just nightmare over here from the cows being in the front yard. I never would have had them out here if my loader wouldn't have broke. So, hopefully with the loader being fixed, I can move the hay again and get them out of here. So we'll move all the panels. We're going to start moving the hay to another area, and hopefully the chickens will clean this mess up out here a little bit. It's terrible. So that's the plan with that. So we're working on the mobile toolbox here, Tom's car. So here's kind of where I'm getting to. I haven't, it's not all loaded up yet. But I have toolboxes, and then I'll put my tool bags on top. That I would like. This is my electrical. I just grab that. I can work on electrical. This is plumbing. I just grab it. It doesn't really have fittings. Just mostly the tools that I would normally use. And then like under here's a little less important tools. Like this is files and clamps. And I have more tool bags to find. But anyway, look at this. This is just kind of a hodgepodge. I'm going to get a tool bag that has screwdrivers and pliers in one bag. And then this top tray will kind of just stay empty. But I got all my 1/4, 3/8. Oh, that sucker's heavy. 1/2 inch in the bottom there. But sorting through that all day, trying to make one complete set type thing. And I got my bits, my nut drivers, tool, drill bits, and then specialized bits like spade bits, reamers, spade bits, Allen wrenches, and nut drivers. When I find the rest of my very fancy Klein nut drivers, who knows where they're. Then my blades. And then my other blades. So, kind of cool. And I'll show you the side here. The car has not gone dead, thankfully. And then I got some power tools in here. Got my cordless over there, and then like my various sprays and liquids that I would need. So, this battery's about had it. I'll change the battery. And this is stuff I'm saving for a particular project. Anyway, I'm going to go change this battery real quick. And all those tools rounded up is a big deal. I'm going to show you my other project I'm going to work on tomorrow. And I need to, this was powering my cold frames last winter. I need to do something else with it. We're going to bring all those pots in to the greenhouse. I'll show you the greenhouse. There's some of the dirt out of junk pots. Really kind of junk dirt. Very good. So kind of organized in here, if you remember what it looked like. So I'm going to put those pots in here, but you see how that plastic is torn? So I'm going to just put this little scrap piece of old plastic up for now. And show you. See down in that corner. See that? I've got some problems along the bottom there. So I'm going to get some short pieces outside, dig it out, and then just lay that plastic and then bury it back. That one with that kind of a little product there. But I'm going to go ahead and put my plastic on and then put those pots down along here. And then I'm going to put some greens and stuff in there, maybe some brassicas and some lettuce, spinach type stuff. So anyway, I'll show you when I get the plastic on and get the pots in here. But that's all I've done today. Organizing tools is always time consuming, and I have them scattered from one end to the other. So, and I'm still working on it. But I'm going to get them all into that little car, and it's going to be my centralized toolbox, which will be very handy. So I'm just going to staple this plastic up and then put a wood strip on the bottom. Then I'll put some more wood strips on. See how I got, that's kind of why that plastic failed. I like to put whole wood strips on. Keep it in place. Plus I probably hung it backwards. This plastic I got, you couldn't tell which way was the UV resistant and which one wasn't. And when you hang it backwards, it goes bad quick. So anyway, we'll get this plastic up. Alright, I'm back. I got my plastic on. So, a few things that I've learned and experienced of having a greenhouse and building my own and so forth. Don't overcrowd it. Make it where you're going to enjoy getting in here and working on it. Just cramming every last thing in there seems like a good idea. You're probably not going to enjoy your time in the greenhouse if it's all crammed in there, and things are going to get neglected back in the corners, or if you stack them too thick. Make it where you can get to it and you enjoy it, and it's somewhat pleasing. I mean, I do go for function over aesthetics, obviously, if you've seen around here, but don't crowd it in too much. It's like you could stagger these and get more in here, and it's better to do less well. Instead of trying to just do as much as you can, you get burned out. So just make it easy. So I do a double layer, and it makes a huge difference. Even though this shelf should probably come down, and I should get another piece of plastic over that window and blah blah blah. Probably won't do that, but it would help keep it warmer. But for the 12-14 weeks of cold, it's you know, I'm just going to try to get a few brassicas in and some spinach and some. What I have here, I just wanted to show you. I got to clean these out. These have been sitting outside. I'm not going to drag these back and forth out to the garden anymore. Too much work, and then the sun just beats them up, dries them out. They're supposed to be UV resistant, but you're just taking life years away from them by doing that. So I wanted to show you some of the things that I got in here. I'm going to try to actually leave. I'm not going to keep the dead nettle. And I'm not going to keep the geranium. And those are both edibles. I have plenty of them out there. This old carrot, we'll see what kind of shape. I'll grab it right now. Oh, it's big, but I doubt it's any good. Well, we can eat that. We'll eat those. Not too dried out. Some of them are not worth. Anyway, I'm going to try to leave, as I plow through I'm try to leave the chickweed, because I know that stuff will just keep on keeping on. Okay. Going to keep that chickweed in place. That's the good stuff. I don't want the dock. It's not worth it. And it'll grow so big and take over. Got to get that taproot out of it. So that's a persistent thing if you let it grow in there. And yeah, this full of weed seeds. And again, I would always try to cram as many plants in each pot. Now I'm not going to get so excited. I'm going to take it easy. But I'm going to save that chickweed. This is another one I haven't shown you. That is an edible wood sorrel, creeping sorrel. It's so abundant here. I'm not going to keep it in there. But see that three-leaved trifolia, whatever. Three-leaved is the clover, like a clover anyway. But anyway, you probably remember as a kid you ate them. We call them pickles. But it's sour grass, or this is an edible, and it's very, very high in vitamin C. So that's one you should be aware of. I haven't shown it yet. This is more of that dock. I don't want any of that. I'm going to experience on that. See what else I got in here. it's pretty good dirt. Still pretty loose. It's not all packed hard, so it'll take seeds readily. Try to leave the little bit of chickweed, and you don't have to leave much, and it'll do something. So I'll have to get that out. I saw something else. There's a little tiny bit of chickweed there. See it? That's all we need. I don't know what that thing. I think it's a common mullein. I don't know what that is. If you know what that is, let me know. I appreciate it. I don't know what that is. Could be edible. I had to just look all these things up, figure a lot of them out on my own. It was not easy, so I don't know what this thing is. Can you see it? So there's my chickweed. There was one other I saw that. There it is. Mallow. Common mallow. They get little fruits on them. You can eat them. They call them cheeses. Anyway, it is a cousin to the marshmallow, but that's just a common mallow, and that's an edible. And it likes cooler temperatures, not super cold. It doesn't like the heat so much. There's some more over there. See that? So that's mallow and chickweed. This is a really nice bucket of chickweed here. So you could put pots of dirt out there. As long as they're fairly rich and moist, you'll probably get some chickweed growing in there this time of year. So this is good stuff. So anyway, just a few more wild edibles, and you'll probably have them out in your yard. See, like this palm tree hasn't grown in there. So I go with the double layer on the greenhouse, and sometimes I just round off the corners or the bottom and leave a little extra space. You're just reducing air mass in here, and then you're increasing the air pocket between the outside. And I find that it's pretty effective. Even if it's ripped and not perfect, it still gets pretty toasty in here. So I'm just going to leave it as is this year. Not too much. But I got double layer on most of it. This old, really old-fashioned sliding door. I put a secondary little panel there with plastic just to reduce the thermal, transference, whatever you call that. So this is a handy little greenhouse. It's all made out of wood, and it's just standing. I used the polycarbonate on the outside, and that doesn't last 25 years. I don't care what they say. I showed you down there where it's deteriorating. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, and I will get some seeds in there, and I'll be back with you. Let me show you the project I'm going to work on tomorrow. Yeah, stand up and show you this. So there's what we're looking at. So we just got that rosemary I showed you. Got the overwintered peppers. Maybe half of them will make it. Some of them got some green to them still. So some of them probably won't make it. But some of them with the green shoots, maybe half of them. But we'll never know until we know. So this thing is literally a crawler with the way it's set up right now. If I can get some good fluid, good thick fluid, hopefully it'll start moving again. It used to motivate just fine, even with the blown head gasket. Now I fixed it, and now it quits motivating. I'm going to show you the transmission fluid as I walk around and around and around. Where's it at? Here it is. So, boy, it's pretty full. Let's see how it looks. Alright, here's my dipstick. I might have to siphon some out of there. It's full. I'm going to have to siphon some out of there. It's just not motivating. So I do have those 2, 4, 5 panels wired up. That's my panel for my solar generator. That's what's running my pressure pump. And if you remember, I had brought the wires over. You can see that upright wire over there. along the fence there. See how the wires run over to the tank. Anyway, I ran out of wire right here, so I've got to get, that's number 10 PV rated wire. So I just got to get that from there over to here and in there. I can tie it in to these batteries here that I've been working on. Let's see what's it reading here. 29.2 volts, which is about what it's supposed to be from those panels. So that's a 208 amp hour at 24 volt battery bank. And I'm going to try to run the pump that's way over there and this DC deep freeze 24 volt deep freezer. I'm going to see if that battery bank will run it. I've been charging that for probably a week now. Those batteries have been sitting, so we're going to see how they function. I've got better batteries, but I'm going to try to get those things working. So anyway, I'm going to try to hook up the deep freezer tomorrow, and I'm going to get that wire in here from over there and get it hooked up and try to get rid of that solar generator and free up those batteries. I have a DC freezer coming, refrigerator, 12 volt, like an RV refrigerator. It's like 11 cubic feet. I'm going to show you what we're doing in there with that. So, and then I also have to get this insulated. I'm going to use some, just that 2-inch pink foam, rigid foam, to get these batteries insulated for when it does get cold again. It's not so bad, but I don't want them freezing up. So I got to insulate them. That will be tomorrow's project. Let me show you what else I'm working on. So that's what I did manage to get moved today. Partial bale. So they're over there eating it. We tossed the salt blocks over there. So we're going to try to keep them off the front and this middle section here, because we're having that meeting over in that our building, and see this manure minefield here. Hopefully the chickens will help get rid of that before people come, because that's just ugly. Function before aesthetics, unfortunately. Let me show you this in here. So we got the old country living motorized. Organic white wheat berries into some flour. We can't do that manually. We got the old. This is our refrigerator. Our other refrigerator went out, so we wanted to try to go part way off grid, or at least a step in the right direction. So we have a temperature controller hooked to a small deep freeze that would fit in the hole here. So we keep it between 39 and 34 degrees, and we just have some stuff in there. We don't like it though. And our other, we have this little thing that we had out there to put eggs in, so we're using this little thing. The freezer, or the refrigerator we're getting, fits about up to here, and it will leave, you know, a few inches on either side, but it's almost like a normal refrigerator, so we will be a lot happier with that. It's going to be 12 volt, and those extra batteries I free up over there, I will put them up in the attic, and I'll put a solar panel above that, and I'll try to power this whole refrigeration system off grid. So that's coming up, but I'm waiting for it to be delivered. Top produce of the homestead here, bone broth from our chickens. Health food right there, superfood, good stuff. The land flowing with chicken broth.